Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Heidi from My Reading Life here today to film a recent and currently reading video. It is Saturday, March the 14th, and I'm telling you, it's been really hard to get focused on reading in the last couple of days with all of the stuff going around about coronavirus and what's happening in the world, and so I've just found it really difficult to concentrate. I don't know if that's true for you as well, but I know that's true for me. So I thought maybe this video would help me to get focused on what I have read so far this month and stay focused on what I want to continue reading this month. So first book I finished in March was Malagash by Joey Comeau. This is a novella that I first heard about over at Sean the Book Maniac's channel. It is about it's narrated by a teenage girl who is with her family in Nova Scotia. They've come back to her father's hometown because he has been diagnosed with a terminal illness and he only has a few weeks to live, and he wanted to, his last few remaining weeks to be at home where he was from. So the whole family packs up and moves back there, and we're getting the story from this teenage daughter's perspective. She has a younger brother, her mom, her grandmother, all in the story. And the teenage girl is basically surreptitiously audio recording her father through all their interactions. Every time they go to visit him in the hospital, the stories that he's telling, the jokes that they have together. And she wants to take those audio recordings and basically turn them into a virus, a computer virus that will infect computers around the world so that her father will always be with her and will always be in the world, basically. And it was a beautiful story. It really, it sounds a little bit morbid just because of the topic, but the teenage narrator is Sunday, and her voice is so perfect and so relatable and so heartwarming and funny. This book is so funny, I can't even tell you. So I just truly loved it. It's a quick read. It's like 115 pages or something like that. It's really short and just packs a lot of emotional punch, but don't go into it thinking it's just going to be a sad book. It's actually quite funny in places and heartwarming. I really loved it. Thank you so much, Sean, for recommending it, because I never would have heard about it other than through you. I then finished a BookTube Prize book from the category that I'm judging for the nonfiction round in this first round, and that's Everything in Its Place by Oliver Sacks, and I'll discuss that more after the judging period has ended. And then I finished Prudence by Gail Carriger. This is the first book in a fantasy, sort of steampunk fantasy series, where this young lady, Prudence, is sent by her parents to India. It's like during the British rule of India to deal with, she's ostensibly sent to try to negotiate the purchase of a new flavor of tea, but she ends up getting into a political mess and having to deal with different factions of supernatural creatures in India. So there's werewolves, there's vampires, and there's dirigibles and all that kind of stuff. It's fun, but this was kind of a silly book. I really liked Gail Carriger's previous series. Soulless was the first book, the Parasol Protectorate series, and that's why I picked this one up. But I have to say, I probably won't continue on with the series. I just thought this one was rather silly, and maybe I've just grown out of this style of writing. I don't know, but I just didn't find it. I listened to it on audiobook for the most part, and I just didn't find it that compelling. I've also finished just last night this collection of columns all about the reading life. This is Housekeeping versus the Dirt by Nick Hornby. Nick Hornby writes a column for Believer magazine, or he did anyway. This is a collection of his columns from like 2005, 2006 that's been bound up and published. And in each of his columns, he talks about the books that he's bought and the books that he's read in a particular month, and sort of social commentary about maybe the books or other things that are going on, written in sort of the Nick Hornby clever, witty British humor style. This was a good book. This is my bedside table book, so this is the book I would pick up before going to bed at night, and it's perfect to dip in and out of, read a few pages in the evening time. So if you're looking for something that's sort of gentle and relaxing and funny in this time of stress, I highly recommend this one. Okay, so that's everything I've completed so far, which is only 4 books, which tells you how stressed out I have been in the last few weeks. I have not been getting much reading done, but I have been reading some other books that I'm halfway through. So I am reading SPQR, A History of Ancient Rome by Mary Beard. This is a buddy read with Britta Bowler, and this obviously is nonfiction, all about what it says on the tin, the history of ancient Rome. Mary Beard is a great author. This isn't just a dry collection of facts. She sort of takes a theme in each chapter and weaves in the different individuals during that time period. It may not all be linear. For example, this last chapter I just read, chapter 6, had a section on Spartacus. It talked about Tiberius. It talks about how basically the early republic formed and what was the system of government and how were individuals treated in sort of what was known as Rome at the time. And we're now leading up to the republic has kind of ended and we're getting into the beginning of the empire. So like 100 BCE and, into closer to what we would consider more modern days, coming towards modernity. And this is really great. If you like history nonfiction, this is a really fantastically written book. Britt and I are sort of doing this. We're checking in on a chapter every 2 days, and we're doing this combination audio text thing where we read and then listen, or listen and then read to each chapter, and it's just really fantastic to consume this book in that manner. I'm really, really loving it. I am reading The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. This is a fiction. This is a novel that I'm buddy reading with Alicia, and I mean, everybody knows what the basics of the stories is, but basically you're following the character Cyril Avery, who was born to a teenage single woman in Ireland in like sort of right after World War II time period, I believe. And she gives him up for adoption because obviously at that time you couldn't, be a single mom. She had already been kicked out of her home and all that sort of thing. And then you just follow Cyril through his life. He gets adopted by these 2 crazy people who basically are like, you're not one of us. We just wanted to give you a home, or we thought we'd adopt a child, but you're not really an Avery. So, keep that in mind. And so you have that whole section of his life, and now I'm in the section where he's sort of a young adult. He's starting his career. Oh, and I should say, like, the biggest point of this whole book is Cyril is gay, and of course it was not the thing to be gay in Ireland in this time period, and so he has to hide what he truly is. And this is written in John Boyne's sort of style with a lot of humor. There's a lot of really rotten characters, but they're written in a way that you laugh, you're laughing at them a lot, even though they're doing horrible things. Cyril he's not a perfect character by any means, but you're rooting for him as you read along. It's just really great. John Boyne's just a really, really great writer, really compulsively readable author for me. The BookTube prize book that I'm reading is The Heartbeat of Wounded Knee, Native America from 1890 to the Present by David Treuer, I think. And so I can't talk about that one. I just wanted to mention that I'm reading it. And I just started this afternoon, Long Bright River by Liz Moore. I'm not even like 10 pages into it. I'm just 10 pages into it, but very much looking forward to like doing a deep dive into this weekend. I just got it from the library. I was the first person on the hold list for this. So very excited to read it. This is a story of, what is the character's name? Mickey, who is a police officer in Philadelphia, and her sister Casey is a drug addict. And so these 2 things are obviously gonna cause the conflict in this story. And I really loved Liz Moore's The Unseen World when I read it a couple of years ago. So I'm very much excited to read this one. And I'm hoping that this will fit for March Mystery Madness because I have yet to read a mystery this month. And then the only other thing that I'm currently in the middle of is my audiobook right now, which is Why We Sleep. I don't remember the name of the author, but there'll be a picture up here. And this is a book I picked up because I heard Britta Bowler talk about it on her channel a while ago. And it's a nonfiction book all about why we sleep, what sleep does for us, how sleep works, what's going on in the brain while we sleep. It's very, very entertaining on audiobook, which is how I'm consuming it right now. Although I may have to switch to the ebook version because it keeps referencing charts and graphs that are evidently in the book, and I of course can't see them because I'm listening to the audiobook. So I may start doing a back and forth thing with that book as well. But it's really, really good on audio. And if that's a topic that interests you, I wanted to read it because I suffer occasionally from insomnia or interrupted sleep, and as does my husband. And so I kind of want to learn more about why maybe that's happening, and maybe some strategies for making sure that I get a good night's sleep, because I think it's really important for overall health. So yeah, that's what I am currently reading. And I hope that all of you are doing really well, and that you've found some toilet paper if you need it, and that you're weathering this current global crisis as well as can be expected. And hopefully we can all be distracted by books, which is the only thing that gives me any peace of mind at this moment. I look forward to talking with you down in the comments, and I'll talk to you later.